Welcome back to Short Thoughts with Mary. Obviously, I'm Mary, and I am in a great mood of singing. Not great mood. Am I ever in a great mood? I am. But if I start singing, I apologize to everybody's ears, everybody's brain, the car, just the world at that point. My singing is not good. But anyway, welcome back. Ooh. Today I am talking about social media, and I apologize if you can hear me breathing. I'm a little bit closer to the microphone, and I also got a new microphone, so we're gonna see how this works. Partially, I apparently also cannot speak, which is great for a podcast. Anyway, moving on. Social media. I am wanting to talk about social media because I feel like there's some things we do discuss about it that everybody is universal opinion, has universal, like it's unanimous agreement on. And then I think there's some things that we all kind of sway from or that we don't think about, and that is good with social media. So let me start off by saying I can kind of give you the backstory on how this even came to be. Right now is Lent, and if you don't know what Lent is, basically, I'm a Catholic, so as Catholics we do it. I'm not going to go down this whole religious thing this whole time. I'm just going to kind of explain what it is in case you don't know. So I know Catholics do it, and I know other denominations of the Christian faith do it as well, but basically during Lent, it's the 40 days when Jesus is in the desert, and with us, we give up something that will bring us closer to God, or you do something that will bring you closer to God. And in my case, because I had such a bad habit of just hopping on Facebook whenever I turned on my phone practically, or even at night, just if I got bored or while I was watching TV, I just turn on TikTok and start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and really have no mission other than that. And it took up a lot of time. But anyway, so I gave it up for Lent, and I can't say yet that I've changed, and I'll get into it a little bit later in the episode, and I'm going to warn you, this might be a little bit of a longer episode. I'm trying to not rush my words, and I think that's part of my breathing right now is because I'm in ADHD mode where I'm trying to talk as fast as I can and get every single word out and try to rush every single word and get every thought out, and I'm trying to slow myself down. And we're back in ADHD mode. Anyway, so I can't say that I've noticed a change because I think partially some of this is a phone issue, and I'll talk about that later on. But I do think that it's good to have that separation regardless whether you notice that change or not. And me and one of the clients at the salon were talking about this because she's also participating in Lent, and there was a moment, I guess I'll just start into is it social media or is it a phone issue? Because we were talking about it, and she said she noticed a difference at one point, and I have too in the past where I've given it up. I gave up Instagram all last year. I didn't have it. I don't think it's, if it wasn't all last year, it was at least half the year. And it was nice. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was more productive. I wasn't out here building houses or anything, but I was kind of more in the moment. Anyway, and she was talking about that, and she had the same experience. And I had remembered a time where I went to this theme park, and okay, let me protect myself here before all y'all start jumping on me about how stupid I am. I already know I'm dumb. I know what I did was dumb. But because I worked at this theme park. Anyway, we went to a theme park, and I brought my phone onto the ride, not because I was videoing, I just was stupid and didn't put it in the cubby hole. And instead, I put it in my back pocket, thinking that I would be sitting on it the whole time. And it won't fall out. How could it fall out when you're sitting on it? Oh, silly me. It was a roller coaster. So we did a loop-de-loop, and during one of the loop-de-loops, my phone dropped right in front of me. I saw that thing go all the way down. So I had about a couple days, maybe a day and a half, where I didn't have a phone. And it was nice. At first you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to contact people? If I get into a wreck, what's going to happen? Da, 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 da. But here's the thing. So in the back of my mind, part of this is that I'm very laid back to almost to a fault, where I thought, well, if something happens, oh well, which isn't good. But I knew, obviously, you guys in the 80s and even some of the 90s and before that, you didn't have phones all the time, and look at you, you're alive. So, worst comes to worst, I knew it was fine. But I kind of wanted to re-experience that it was just so relieving. There was no worry about contacting people. There was no worry about jumping on Instagram. I was just in the moment. Of course, at the theme park, I was a wreck because it was my phone and my mom didn't have a way of contacting me, and I love my mom, but she's a worrywart, as any mom should be. Anyway, so I gave up social media for Lent, and haven't noticed anything yet, but I think eventually I will, especially towards the end of the 40 days. We've just started about 2 weeks ago anyway. But I have noticed, so this is where I was going, that even though it might be a social media issue partially, with the phone itself, instead of having, picking it up and immediately clicking Facebook or Instagram, I've picked up my phone and immediately started clicking Sudoku. So is that a phone issue or is that a social media issue? I feel like that's kind of answers the question, that it's a smartphone issue. And I will say, so that's the funny thing with the Gen Z generation. I like to bash them a lot because, obviously I'm just so wise. As you guys know, I am just out here being a great philosopher. I can't even come up with one's name. So that answer, that whole statement there just spoke for itself. But my generation has its faults. However, we are doing something right there was a study that came out and it said that more Gen Z is buying minute by minute flip phones for when they go out because they don't like the feeling of their phone on them and just pulling it out and going on Instagram, or pulling it out and going on, in 2010 term, Flappy Bird or something like that. So I think that's good. Good on my generation for doing that. I honestly kind of wish we would just revert back to that. Bring back the iPods, bring back the flip phone. Let's go back to then. However, I do not want disc anymore. Nothing scared me more than riding in a car with my sister and her pulling out the book of CDs as she's driving and trying to not only eject the CD from the radio, catch that, but put a new one in there too. Terrifying. Not fun. Let's stick with Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay, but make it an iPod. Anyway, so I do think social media isn't the total root cause of our ADHD immediately clicking issue. I think part of that is just the smartphone itself and how addicting it is to just get on the phone, immediately have instant gratification, you know what I'm trying to say. And I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. I'm seeing a timer on me and I'm trying to keep it brief. So apologies. I'm trying to slow it down as well. But instant gratification. Boom. it's the smartphone, partially. Now, with Instagram, Facebook, and all of those, I think there is fault to be had when it comes to, and I think I spoke about this in the very, very first episode, with being lonely and all that. There's something to be said. I think it made us all more depressed, more lonely, more sad, because of everybody putting out everything on there. So let me start with the bad, because I don't think we should completely crap on these platforms. I think there's some good in them. So with the bad, we have, like I said, people posting anything and everything. And so when you have a mental issue going on, not that it's their fault, not that happiness shouldn't be spread. I think it should be. But when you're having a really tough time, let's say financially, you found out that you're gonna be you may not be able to pay the bill that month, and you get online and you see Becky is buying a new car, and not only is she buying a new car, but she's going on vacation to Hawaii, and immediately puts you in a really bad place. So I think that part, and that's more of us. When we are not good, we should not be on social media. Maybe TikTok. Maybe we could go on TikTok, because my TikTok is hilarious. I get chickens with hats sometimes because of my mom, and every now and then I'll get the California Cows commercials that used to air back in like the early 2000s. So great. Hilarious. But when we're in a bad place, we shouldn't go on Facebook, Instagram, and all those, because people do tend to post happy things, and that is good. But then there's the other type of people that post, and that would be the attention seekers. And you'll know who the type I'm talking about. It's the type that when they came in first thing in the morning at school, they would slam their backpack down and go, "Girl, guess what?" And you would think, it is 7:45 in the morning. I am barely conscious right now. I cannot even think about what is about to come out of her mouth. So those types of people are the same ones who get on Facebook and say, "Had a rough night, ... Okay, what am I supposed to do with that information? Because obviously, the goal of that post is for me to end up in the comments and say, "Oh no, what happened?" Or it doesn't always have to be bad. It doesn't have to be like, "Had a rough night," or "Had a rough day," or "Can't believe this happened." Sometimes it's good things. Sometimes it's, "I hope every day is as perfect as today." What happened? Why was it perfect? Did you get engaged? Did we have a baby? Did we get a dog? Maybe you got an extra nugget in your Chick-fil-A nuggets? I mean, why is today so good? I'm not going in the comments, though. I refuse with any of those to go in the comments. Let me also defend myself. If I hurt anybody's feelings about my 7:45 in the morning comment, I am not a morning person. Do not talk to me that early. No. Also, it's not that they were like, there's a difference of like, guess what? Like in a happy way. And there's also like, you know the tone when something bad is about to come out of that mouth. And it was always a girl who was eating hot Cheetos and had a bad attitude anyway, and always got me in trouble with the teachers. Anyway, moving on. Just had to defend myself and make sure that anybody that is a morning person wasn't offended that I would say, "How dare you even speak in the morning?" Moving on. The people that post very inconspicuous things do not need to be on Facebook. Take them off immediately. I feel like, honestly, harsh opinion, hot take. Once you make that post, you're out. You're done. Blocked. Done. Facebook. No more. You can just look at Facebook. You can't post anymore. I don't like those. There's a difference between posting for prayers and posting for attention. Sometimes it can intertwine, but I think for the most part, you can tell. And there's times, and I'm not saying, we don't, because I know I'm talking on both sides of my mouth. I think that's the saying. Obviously we don't need to post all of our information, but don't be posting nothing. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's annoying. Nobody likes that guy. The type of information that we should post is I'm getting married, or wedding 2025 was a blast, or something like that. There's also B, please say prayers for my family, or please say prayers for my son, or say prayers for whoever. That's fine. That's all good. You can explain further if you'd like, but, say prayers for what? There's enough information there for us to say, okay, something's happened. Then there's C, hanging out with my best bud, having a great day. Boom, done. Enough information to be happy with it. Enough happiness to be okay. We're not all sad. We're not looking for attention. We're just, wanting to share our love for our friend, that kind of thing. I will say too, to kind of piggyback off of that last thing of sharing how much we love somebody, this is just a personal preference. I don't like it when people are mushy-gushy online. That's just me. I am not a mushy-gushy person. I don't like hugs even. So when you post about your friend, partner, spouse, dad, whoever, and you give me a 5-paragraph post, no thank you. I know you love them. Post a few pictures. You can post as many pictures as you want. I like pictures. I'm a picture person. Do not give me an essay to read. I'm not doing it. That's it. That'll be it for that. So I think social media, good things. The good things with social media is it can connect us to different people that we didn't realize we could be connected to. So in my case, and I like to say, I'm not giving out too much information about myself, but I've spoken about it, I think, before, where I have medical issues. And it's good to connect with people that have the same medical issues, so that way I can ask if something is normal, or I can ask what to look for whenever I'm turning 27, 26, when I'm starting to get my new insurance, what kind of insurance I should buy, that kind of thing. So people that are like-minded, similar. And it's good to find your people. If you've ever listened to, and I know it's kind of a niche band because it's an indie artist, but there's this band called Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors. He's got this song called Find Your People. Super cute song. I follow it. Well, I don't follow it, but I love the song in general. And it's, I kind of live by it. I don't live by the song because it's not like the Bible or anything, but you get what I'm trying to say. It is a good song. It kind of explains, find your people. The ones that'll make you moral, the ones that'll make you feel whole. And that's kind of, I feel like, what social media does. It gives us that little footing of friends. And if we may not have friends in real life, we may not, or I guess, let me say this, we may not have a plethora of friends in real life, but online, that's why you have to be selective with who you add, because not everybody needs to be your friend. Not that, just because you are really close to the gas station clerk does not mean she needs to know everything about your life. So you find your people in high school, for instance. So for my mom, she didn't have Facebook growing up. She had Facebook at age 40. So she had to go back and find people that she went to high school and college and elementary school with and add them. And she got reconnected. And it was so nice because she had, she wasn't becoming their BFFs or anything, but it was one of those where she was able to just rethink of good memories, go down memory lane. But she wasn't adding the bad ones. And I like the mean girls or anything like that. Versus with us, with the newer generations, she's boomer, I think we have a really bad habit of adding even our enemies on there. They don't need to know our moves. What is it? Creep in the shadows. We don't need to tell our people that were really mean to us in high school or college or middle school or whenever. They don't need to know everything. We keep them on the DL. They get as minimal information as they can about us. And same for us with them. I don't think it's good for us, for people we didn't like in school, for us to watch and see how well their life is going. Not saying that we should wish harm onto them. I think that's technically a sin. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it's almost like it's some weird psychological thing. Maybe this is just me, though. I could also be crazy. Where you start looking at people and their life, if it was somebody who did you dirty, and you think, it just puts you down for no reason. It's not like you hate yourself, but you just kind of think, oh, what? Why? And so I do think we need to be selective with our community. But it is good that we find our people, get our little groove going, and then for, older folk, all you oldies out there, just kidding, you're not old, no. But the ones that weren't alive when Facebook, or, excuse me, that would be me. The ones that were alive when Facebook came around, you should go find your friends that you've not talked to in years and years. You don't have to be best friends with them, but you can definitely, kind of rekindle and see how everything's going and see all their grandkids. And because I think it's got to be weird. I mean, I know I'm talking from a 25-year-old perspective, but it makes it even weird for me to look at some of the people I grew up with and see them now and think about when we were little. That's bizarre. I can't even imagine being my mom's age and looking at friends she grew up with in elementary school and seeing that they have grandkids now. Oh my gosh. No. I'm already struggling with time right now. I can't even fathom that, but it's gotta be nice. It's gotta be so sweet, too. I mean, life is like a movie every now and then, and I think that's kind of the niceness that Facebook provides, is that we can almost get that conclusion story on people. And sometimes that puts us in a really bad spot, too. Like my mom, she's not old. I joke about it. She's not old. But she did have a friend that passed away from her elementary school, and that's gotta mess with you. Because, I mean, obviously, I've had people pass away now, from accidents and stuff like that, and that's horrible. Horrible. But this was somebody that passed away, I'm pretty sure, from just natural causes, from a heart attack or something, which isn't good. And, maybe she had some sort of heart condition. Doesn't really excuse it, though. Even though, I'm not sitting here at 25 hearing some girl or some guy is dying from a heart attack. Thankfully. I'm so thankful I have not heard that yet. And I hope I don't. But my mom does. And I think that's kind of a good and bad thing that Facebook or any social media platform provides, is that we don't have that ignorance anymore. It kind of unveils everything. So when somebody dies, we know about it almost immediately. Same thing, though, can be said with events. When something happens, so 9/11, obviously everybody knew that immediately because of the media, and it was 9/11. But let's go really recent, when Charlie Kirk got shot, we all saw that video. So with 9/11, we all saw the plane hit, and that was traumatizing enough. I think with Charlie's, even if you didn't, it is kind of the same, really, if you think about it. With 9/11, when, it was just a news broadcast where they had it going and they were saying what a wonderful day it was, and then all of a sudden you see a plane fly into a building. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. The only difference is it wasn't a news broadcast. back then people were watching the news. Now people are watching their phones and everything, and not everybody who's in a conservative space is going to be watching Charlie Kirk, yet everybody saw what had happened. And you saw every bit of what happened too. And if you didn't, thank God for it, because it was gory and gruesome and horrifying. And that is a very big thing that social media does. It puts out the worst of the worst videos, and sometimes it doesn't catch it quick enough to where it can scrub it and make it nice for us. So we knew about what happened, yes, and we all got that information quick, but we also had to witness, luckily not in person, but we had to witness the gore. All of this to say, to just sum it up, yes, it might be a smartphone issue that we have an addiction and ADHD problem with our apps and things, but social media is also bad about reels and, giving us that instant gratification, and we should probably limit how we do it and what we do on our phones and that especially. But I do think we need to find our people, find our community, not be so open with who is our friend on there, and also not be so open about what's going on in our life. Keep some information to a minimum, but I hope you all got something from this and it wasn't just me rambling about that. Of course, if you have any questions or you want to comment about it, maybe I said something incorrect. Maybe, social media is actually a really, really great thing and I missed something because of it. Or maybe it's way worse than I even think. Just let me know down below. Rate, like, subscribe, share, all the good things. I will talk to you all next week and have a wonderful, I believe, St. Paddy's Day. If not St. Paddy's Day, have a wonderful daylight savings. Bye.